Wasted money with accessories. The emotional buying that causes you to realize that you've wasted thousands of dollars on stuff you don't need. This is for content creators specifically, but it applies to everybody. So let's talk about it. Welcome back to another video. My name is Nikos. Today we're talking about accessories, specifically content creator accessories. Now, it applies to everybody. It's emotional buying if you think about it. And the idea is, how much money have you spent or wasted in the last couple of years? And was there a reason to it? And are you proud of it? And if you're not, how do you stop it? This is the whole goal. Now, the idea, of course, is on a thought process of workflow. How do we stop this in looking at workflow? We need a workflow. If you're just starting out and you got your content creation going, you're probably going to be starting out with filming yourself on your phone. You're going to get a microphone, you're going to get some lights, and then you're going to get your camera. Or you might start with the camera, and then you're going to be like, oh, I need this, and I need that. So we got to start establishing our workflow. What generally happens is you look at your big favorite YouTuber, and you're like, I want to be like that, and then you start to buy stuff that they are using right now, not what they started with. And this is kind of the dilemma everybody gets into when they're buying stuff, and then their budget goes from 0 to hero really fast. Now, I've made previous videos on this. I am also going to be making more videos on different topics on this. So do hit subscribe and check out those previous videos so you can understand the thought process of building that workflow. If you are looking at it in terms of I have my workflow, but I'm growing my workflow, it still applies because you will be doing more things. So as I keep developing new content, I am getting new contracts, and the new contracts dictate I incorporate new aspects to that workflow because they're bigger contracts, they're more money, they need different equipment. So now you start to put into perspective, what do you need and what do you want, and what is going to be an investment versus what is going to be a spend. And I want you guys to be investing in your gear, not wasting the money. So now in this video, I'm going to be talking about different products that have fit into my workflow nicely and have changed my life because it made me more efficient, more quicker, saved money, time, energy, which this is all about, time, energy, and money. And then we're going to be looking at it in terms of ones that I saw that creator, they said it was the best thing, and I bought it, and I've never used it. So let's start off with this case, for instance. People go buy stupid cases all the time. And these cases, they're waterproof, shockproof, you name it, okay? You fit your cards in here. Other people have like these other cases that drop down, and they're like, you need this because you're going to need a lot of cards in the future, and it changes your life because you know your stuff is protected, and blah, 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 blah. The reality is that most people are shooting in a studio, and they're never going to need this, for one. Two, you're going to go out and shoot, and you're going to be, with a client, and you're going to be doing your photos, and you're probably just going to need that one card. Now, you're going to have a backup card, and guess what? It probably fits in one of those new bags in a little case and a fitting. I have all my bags have something to put my cards in. So do I really need this? No, but my favorite creator was like, oh my God, you need this. And I was like, yeah, I do, because I want to be shooting videos the way they're shooting videos. So we put this now into perspective, right? You want to be there, but you're not there yet. So you're starting off. You need to be doing what they were doing at the beginning, not when they started doing all the heavy work and the big contracts. Their workflow has changed as yours will change. So is this something that should be on the list? In my opinion, unless you need it because you need it 100%, no. It's a waste of 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks, whatever they cost now. I paid like 20, 30 bucks for this. It was waste money, waste. Okay. And the mindset on for me is, when do I use this? I've used it a couple times. I went out and did a couple shoots with the group of YouTubers one time, and then other videographers that were like, can you come shoot this? And I did. And I went in and I brought my cards because I knew I was going to lose them. I know something you can lose. So having it in this case, I put everything. I had a workflow where I was like, I'm going to put everything back in the case so I never lose this. Okay, I never lose the cards. I never lose this. We're good to go. That was the fundamental, most important thing of having one of these. And other than that, I mean, I'm going to use it for traveling. If I go travel, I'll bring it with me because I got more cards now, but with the new cameras. But I mean, I got to get a new case now because I have different types of cards and they don't fit in here. And this is where you sit there and you go, my new investment on these expensive $500 cards. Well, now I'm thinking about if I go travel, but other than that, if I wasn't traveling, not needed. Next on the list, very important, plates. Now, every time you get a tripod, you're probably going to get some form of head on top. Now, this idea of plates is critical, and this is something that you learn as you go along. You're going to look at your efficiency. This will change how efficient you are with your workflow if you get the right plates, because you're going to be moving your camera from, say, your tripod to say gimbal, and then from the gimbal to, say, your handheld tripod, so something like a Joby. So when you look at plates, plates are incredibly critical, and there's so many different plates. And what will happen generally is you're going to be watching your favorite creator. They're going to be using some form of tripod. You're going to buy one that is similar to them, and then you're going to be stuck with whatever clip they're using on their camera. And this plate, I mean, there's so many different ones, and right now the Arc Swiss, they call it, is the go-to for almost everything, and or it's changing it into that. And the idea is because it's really universal and it fits a lot of different things. Now, where do you spend money on this? Because it can go from like $20 all the way up to like 500. For me and my workflow, I ended up switching over to Peak Designs, and these things are awesome. So you get your clip, and there's another accessory. It goes on the bag, and of course, this is the plate that they have. And this plate is awesome. I've changed everything over to this plate, and now I can just switch from one tripod to the next, and not have an issue. Of course, the idea here is that when you're looking at any tripod and you have different types of heads. Now, this is a ball head, and I love ball heads. Unless you need something to pan, this is awesome. This is a Joby one, and I just put it on top of any other kind of plate. So you see that this one has like a ball head here, a one of these like Z things that I've never used, another accessory you're never going to use. And I've done some pictures like this, but I mean, let's be real, not that many. And I usually have some form of structured approach with photography in the studio. And of course, you can slide off this plate, and now what occurs is there's another plate underneath. So this plate was the go-to with Manfrotto's, and of course I'm not using that anymore, but I could just slide in here into the Joby, and off we go. So if you're ever going to buy any of these plates, this is kind of like the structured approach you want to take. The idea is that you are looking at it from, how can I make everything universal, because I'm going to just be moving it from one tripod, one, again, gimbal, one Joby, to another, and move quickly. Now, if you're working with other people, again, you're going to know that you're going to be working on a different plate. You got to ask that right away. What kind of plates do you use? First time out, you won't know that. Second time, you'll forget. Third time, you're going to be like, oh, now I don't have to screw and unscrew my camera. So what I'll do is I'll bring a couple of these plates. I'll unscrew them off this, or bring this whole head, and I will just screw it on in the same way when we're working. And that way I screw this on. I don't take it off my camera. I don't have to worry about my camera. And I'm like ninja, get everything done. We're good to go. So plates are incredibly critical. And of course, once you invest into a set of plates, it's going to be more and more money. So you need to make that decision as you get moving. So your workflow, take your time with that and really look at, what will I be buying? What do I need? Start making a list and start looking at, how often would I use that kind of tripod? And now you start to put into perspective, what can you use? Now, this clip is probably this set right here. This is probably what I use the most out of anything I've ever bought. I go out, I have the clips on the bags, I put them on any bags, and let's be real, I use this on a daily. Whenever I go out, instead of putting my camera back into the bag, I clip it on. It's so secure. It's so safe. No problem. I remember at the Raptors parade, we got trampled. There were so many people, and I thought I lost my camera. I was like, oh my God, it was an emergency. There was, like, I won't get into it. I'll make a video about it another day. But it was on my belt. The camera was on my belt, and literally it never left, because this thing's so secure. And yeah, sold. So next on the list, buying stuff like digital recorders. Do you really need a digital recorder? Unless you're doing interviews and you're doing certain things, do you really need them? If you buy a good camera with a quality mic, you don't really need it. That's the bottom line. Now, if you want to do multiple setups and do more things with clients, then yes, it's worth buying. But you got to remember that you got to buy a whole bunch of accessories, and there's always an accessory that comes with it. So you see all these different cables, and you need to make sure you have all the different cables. It will run you up. So I had one shoot, and I remember I could have rented everything and or borrowed from a buddy, and one of these are great. Now this is a gear. You would say this is a gear, but it's all the accessories that go with this when you're using your mics and making sure everything is good. It tallies up. So this kit I have is like $500. I've used it, for different recordings with clients a handful of times, and some podcast setups that we've done. With the new mics that I've purchased, I don't really need to do that unless I have like 4 or 5 people in the room, kind of thing. So the idea here is specificity on your workflow. For me personally, I don't need to have this because I can get away with the setup unless somebody actually tells me, I'm going to pay you to do this. Can you get this gear? I'll make a list and then use mine or go rent. And at the same time, with the new mics that I have, I need to upgrade this. And now I've already spent like $500 on this. So the thought process just becomes, wasted money again. Why? Because I could have just borrowed or rented it and been done with that shoot. I don't have to worry about it. And then figure out what actual recorder I want based on the new mics that I was buying. I still had my older, crappier mics. Like I've spent like $3,000 on mics. I bought all these stupid mics. And then it comes down to quality is better. And then you're like, oh, and now the recorder goes, oh, well, what am I going to do with this recorder? Okay. And it's more of a backup now. That's all it's treated as. Do I bring it out? No. But if I know I'm going to be doing a shoot and I need a certain recorder, if I can't get away with that one, it'll be my backup, and I will then use the rented one that I'm going to buy, that I'm going to rent before I buy, so I can know next recorder what is it really that I need. But the accessories that come with it, it's like it ran up to a couple $100, and you're sitting there and you're like, oh, okay, so was that really worth it? Other accessories you're going to use are small bits. You're always going to need some form of small bit to say you buy one of these cameras and then the actual fitting is not big enough or small enough. So in this case, this is a 3/8 to 1/4, and you sit there and you would look at it when you're playing around with this and you're like, oh, it doesn't fit. And then you would go and see that these cost like a couple bucks to $5 to $10 individually, but then you can get a pack. So the idea then just becomes, are you going to be using these? And how often? Now, from my experience, I just buy a pack. 5, 10, 20. Why? Because it's cheaper, and I know down the road I'm going to need them because I'm moving in this direction. But when you're starting out, it might not be worth it. So you just buy a couple of them and have them around, spend a little bit more money for individual. But you will need these smaller things as you get going. So when you do see them on sale, or in my case, like I saw like this one, I needed one. I never bought one because I was like, oh, so I've been using a different stand for this camera. However, this camera came with some accessories, and then I realized I need more of these. And I sat there and I'm like, okay, let's buy a big pack. Or, when I saw like the delivery charge from a company for something else I was buying, I could get this for $1. They had it on sale, and I just threw it in. But now I'm looking actively for a pack of them so that I can use them on this new camera setup. So the thought process is that I can get away with just one right now, but for all the other accessories, I do need to get a pack, but I'm gonna wait until they go on sale. There's always a sale coming up in the, once you buy it, then you'll see it 2 days later. So you just wait for that sale. There's no immediate need in that manner. Now, the other thing that could happen is that you buy something like a Joby, and then all of a sudden you buy the accessories that come with it. So say an example is this. So literally this goes on the side, and you can hook this up and put microphones, lights, and you name it. Wasted money. I've never used it. Honestly, I've seen people use it. I saw somebody talk about it. I was like, oh, I could use that. And I could put the mic that way instead of having it the traditional way on top of the camera. And it's so inconvenient. Inconvenient. Unless I need it as a setup. Inconvenient. Another thing I bought from Joby when I bought my Joby is this stupid clicker. Now, this clicker, I have it up the wrong way. You click on it, and it takes pictures from your phone. Most of the times, it never worked. When I got it to work, I took pictures, and I was like, this is the stupidest thing ever. Did I return it? No, because their policy to return at the time was stupid. Probably still is. But the idea now becomes, well, do I even use my phone as much as I thought I would use my phone? And the reality is, no. I'd rather set up my other camera and take pictures in that manner and have something of quality rather than my phone being set up on a Joby of its own and blah, 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 blah. So what did I learn from that experience? It was don't just jump on accessories because they offer you a deal because you're buying the main thing. And this is also what happened with this OBSBot that I purchased. This is a pretty cool camera. I'll be doing a review on this. But this is kind of like, you sit there and you're like, did I need all the accessories and the tripods and this and that? No, I didn't. And then on top of that, in order to use this camera on other tripods, I needed to get the bits to fit everything. And you're like, oh, wasted money, wasted money. So what do we learn from all this? My idea here with this video, and to recap, is look at all these products I just showed you. Where did they fit in my workflow was the question. Now, if we're looking at workflow and we're starting out, we're moving forward, we start to put things into perspective based on our workflow. And as you start to build, you start to look at things and you say, even though my favorite content creator is doing something, will I be doing this based on my workflow? If I have to eventually move to that workflow, I can invest the money then, but why waste the money now if I'm not going to be using it? The thought process becomes, how do you go through the next stage of development? Do you know where that is? And if you know where it is, how far away will that be? So right now, for instance, I bought the R5, I have the R6. The R6 was a regret for my purchase because it doesn't fit my workflow, although I was watching all these content creators who did say that it fit their workflow. And I was like, oh, okay, but it didn't really fit. The R5 is much suited for my workflow. Now, is the R6 a good camera? Yes, it's an awesome camera, amazing camera. I think it's phenomenal, but it doesn't fit my workflow. It was better to invest into the R5. Now the question becomes, do I buy an R5C or do I buy another R5 or do I wait a couple years until the new cameras come out? Or, do I just scrap that thought altogether, stick with what I have until a new sight of line comes into my workflow of where I want to be. And then I can look at that and say, do I really need a R5C or maybe I need a C70? The thought process then becomes investment because now I can start to look at it and go, well, who am I going to be bringing in as contracts? So I was doing way more stuff with clients beforehand. And then everything kind of stopped because of the pandemic. And I was shooting for the stars. I got contracts, pandemic happened, lost contracts. And then it was like, oh, okay, now what? And where we're going, has my direction changed? Well, yes, it has. And the question then becomes, what are these new clients' requirements going to be? And what should I invest in? This is why the R6 doesn't fit in my workflow because I'm moving in the direction already. But if you don't know where your workflow is going, then this is a problem. So we start off slow on what we need immediately, and then we start to make assumptions of where we're going. And then once we confirm a direction, that's where we go and we invest the money. It is better to take that approach than seeing things on sale and buying them because your favorite content creator purchased them, because now you're looking at it in terms of opportunity to waste money. So your mindset literally goes to, oh, I'm going to need that because I'm going to get those clients, but then you never do. And then it's wasted money because you never use it. And it might be that you get other clients and you go a different direction. So my intent here is to really dig down on what is your workflow, where's your time, energy, and money going into, where are you investing all of that? And that will relate to the investment that you're going to do on the products that you're purchasing, on the accessories that you're purchasing. Because a lot of these accessories are costing more than what we're buying altogether. When you look at the tripods, the gimbals, this, that. I have like all these gimbals. Why did I even buy them? I don't even use them anymore. I just need the one, is what I'm getting at. And it's like, now what? Why do I need all these cameras? Now what? Well, now I'm going to start selling. Okay, but are you going to sell? Some people don't. I fall into that. So we look at this workflow. We look at our time, energy, and money. Where's it going to? If you're just sitting in the studio most of the time and then all of a sudden you get somebody to tell you, hey, let's go do this project together and we're going to need this equipment, then make a list, go find that equipment, rent it for that project, charge the client. That's it. And don't give me this idea of, oh, well, I can't really, well, what if I don't get the contract then? Because like it's too expensive. Tough luck, don't take the contract. Because what should you be doing? And I'll make a video on this. What should you be doing? When I go to a client, the client says, hey, I want this done. I charge them for the camera that I have. I charge them for the lenses. It's part of my item list. And I go, hey, I'm using this. I bought it. I'm using this. This is how much it would be rented. I still charge that. Why? Because I got to pay off my camera and it's part of the deal. Why should I buy a camera, a tool that I use, and go do a shoot and not charge the person the same way it would be if we were to rent the thing. It makes no sense because now I'm losing money because this camera is being used. Every click it takes, every minute it wastes doing video, its value is going down. So somebody's going to be paying for that value. So why would I be paying for that value? The client's going to pay for that value. So don't give me this idea of structured approach of what ifs. Look at it from a business perspective and things start to play out. Now, if you're a new content creator, you're starting out and you watch that previous video where I explained the start of the workflow, which I will link below again, you'll see that the pattern is very simple. You're growing to get to where you want to be of your different content. So when you're starting to move, you're going to look at different things and you say, what's incremental and what's most important for me to invest in right now? So you're going to make a list, and on said list, you're going to start to put down the time that you would be saving by having said item. You're going to be putting down the amount of money it would cost, and then you would look at it in terms of, in a long-term approach, what is the investment turning into? Is it really an investment, or is it going to be wasted money? You'll make a list and then you'll know when the value of it, when it will be the right time to buy or not buy. And that's it. You move forward in that manner. So that list is incredibly critical. I have a list of things I want to buy and things I need to buy. And on it, there is the percentage, okay, on the estimation of how much time I'd be saving. So that's the investment for me on buying something. And if it's low on the list, and I don't buy it. If it's high, I'll look for a sale and buy it. And that's it. So take a step back, think about all this. I hope this helps somebody make better decisions, make that list. I will make another video on making said list, and I'll show you my Excel sheet so we can start to put together an idea of how this fits the narrative so you can make better decisions with the equipment, the accessories that you're buying.